Hello, welcome to another segment of Yay or Nay. For this one we're going to talk about the Nintendo Switch, or more specifically, buying the Nintendo Switch. Now I'm going to be quite frank, I'm not 100% sold on the system just yet. There are a few games that have piqued my interest, but I'm going to give it a year, like April of 2018, to make my decision if I'm going to get the system or not. For a few different reasons. One, I like to buy new systems in the spring. I don't know why, I just do. I sound like one of those old Apple Jacks commercials. Of course, holidays are good too. The last system I got for Christmas was Xbox One, and that was mainly because my mom won in a contest at work, which was kind of cool. The second reason is, I don't like to buy systems at launch, because I feel like they tend to be problematic. Or at least since the start of the 7th gen, the Xbox 360 and Red Ring of Death is a perfectly good example. And that's why I wasn't too surprised when people were reporting problems with the Switch. But, it could be just like a handful of people, maybe 100 people have a problem with something, but out of 2 million sales, but of course, it's negative, so it spreads like wildfire. But my luck, I'd be one of the ones that gets like one with glitches or something, so, I say this about any company or games or system, whatever, that it's like, give them a year, work the bugs out. But one thing I do like about Nintendo, despite these flaws, like launch, which, like I said, isn't uncommon with launch systems, the thing I like about Nintendo is I think they make great quality products. Take, for example, my 3DS. I've had this for 5 years now, and I've dropped this thing so many damn times, including on concrete and in the toilet. And yes, I did clean it up good and wash my hands thoroughly afterward. However, despite all this, the system still works like a charm. But yeah, so... And the third reason, I want to make sure the system is going to do well. I mean, I know it's selling well right now. Just hear me out. It's selling well right now because of hype, and it literally just came out almost 3 months ago. And so... And I think it'll sell well around, November and December because of Mario and the holidays, of course. But fast forward to February, how well will it be selling by then? I'm just making an assumption here. I don't have a third eye that can see the future or anything, but, will it still be selling well by then? I mean, it doesn't have to be flying off the shelves like it is right now, but as long as it's selling moderately well, which I think is kind of a highly possibly, or whatever, but as long as it's selling moderately well, I'm on board. Anyway, a couple of things that I've wanted to address that people have looked at as sort of a negative since the Direct back in January, so this is stuff I've been wanting to get off my chest for months. First is the price. I don't think the system is overpriced. I mean, 1-2 Switch and extra Joy-Cons, those are overpriced. That I won't argue with. But, games, accessories, extra controls, all that aside, I'm talking about the system itself, I don't think is overpriced. And I'll tell you why. But first we have to go back to the early 90s. And now keep in mind, things were cheaper back then, and everything's gone up in price in the past 20 plus years. Toys, clothes, food, gas, everything's gone up in price. But back in the early 90s, you could get a Super Nintendo or a Sega Genesis for about $200. Today a system is $300. But back then, one of those systems was $200. And then Panasonic, who is not even a video game company, comes along and says, we're going to make our own video game console. And it's, that was its whole ad campaign, if you will. It was basically like, oh, it's better than the Genesis and the Super Nintendo put together. Granted, it wasn't, because my brother rented it, and I totally blanked that thing out of my memory until a few years ago when I started retro game collecting, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that thing. Or now I do. But anyway, the system, so it's like, for that, the system was $700, so for that same price you could literally get a Genesis and a Super Nintendo and a whole lot of games. Now, today, imagine if that happened today. Let's say a company who makes video cameras decided, we're going to make our own game console, It's better than the Switch, the PS4, and the Xbox One. Oh, and it's $1,000. That's insane. Like, who would buy that? But you see what I'm saying? That's why I don't think the Switch or the system itself is overpriced. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is the servers, which... Sorry. The servers, which, or charging for them, whatever. It's only $30 a year, which is literally half the price of Xbox Live and PSN. And speaking of PSN, I remember when Sony did this. See, PS3 had free online servers, and then with the PS4, Sony announced they were going to start charging for the servers on the PS4, and people were pissed, of course. Yet the PS4 dominated the 8th generation. So, the charging for the service clearly didn't affect the sales or anything. PS4 just killed the 8th generation, blew it out of the water. They sold 50 million units. That's impressive. So, if Sony can do it, why not Nintendo? But anyway, now let's talk about some of the games. Well, ones that have piqued my interest, I should say. The first is Super Bomberman R, which was actually one of the launch titles. Now, I know this game got mixed reviews, not that I really listen to critics, but I grew up with Bomberman, and we haven't seen a new Bomberman game in years. Combined with the fact this is Konami we're talking about, I don't think I need to go into details about them. But I'm just surprised they even made a Bomberman game, and I'm glad they did, so yeah, I'll give it a shot. Excuse me, I just burped. The next game is Puyo Puyo Tetris. I like puzzle games. They're very fun and addicting, and they're perfect for on the go or if you just need a quick little gaming fix. The next game is ARMS, which I'm not really a fan of motion controls, but I mean that's fine for like party games or whatchamacallit, sports games, which even those I don't play very much of, but I liked the Wii Sports Boxing. I used to kick everybody's ass in that because I'd play like bam, 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 bam. And one time I was playing with my friend and I was beating the shit out of him. He was like, Jesus, tone it down, Mike Tyson. So I bit off his ear. I'm just kidding, that didn't happen, but so ARMS, that looks pretty fun and creative, so. Then there's Splatoon 2, which that one is kind of a maybe at the moment because, well, I really like the first game, and I'm curious as to how the sequel will play out because it's a game that really utilizes the gamepad, and because, well, in other words, 2 screens, whereas the Switch doesn't really use 2 screens. It has 2 screens, but use them for different purposes. Or well, you know what I'm saying. Anyway, take the multiplayer in Splatoon. You have the third-person view on the TV, and then you have a map of the level on the gamepad. Now, let's say it's like you have the icons of all the little characters on the map, or your allies, enemies, whatever, and you say like, okay, this person could use some backup over here. So you tap on the screen, and your character will launch towards them. So that's why I'm curious as to how. Well, you see what I'm saying? How it uses 2 screens, whereas the Switch doesn't really. So I'm curious as to how that'll play out. Next is Super Oddjob Odyssey. I mean, Super Mario Odyssey, because, the hat. Never mind. But, yeah, we haven't seen... I don't buy every single Mario game, but we haven't seen one like this since the GameCube and the... since the GameCube, so... That game looks cool. One of the games that... Sorry, I got out of work, so I'm all stretching and shit. Anyway, one of the games that really grabbed my attention was Fire Emblem Warriors, because I love hack-and-slash games like Dynasty Warriors, and Hyrule Warriors was one of the games that made me buy a Wii U. So, you combine in a game like that with Fire Emblem, which is one of my favorite Nintendo franchises, I was like, yeah, you definitely draw my attention with that. Excuse me. Anyway, the Switch is also getting a lot of indie support, which is kind of cool. Like Shovel Knight, for example. And that Blaster Master remaster looks really cool. The thing I like about indie games is I feel like they're made by people who are more passionate about gaming, if you know what I mean. Like, smaller groups of people who are more passionate about gaming. Whereas, I love AAA games too, but a lot of those are made by companies which, like, a lot of companies nowadays are run by these CEOs who only care about banging out more profit. Like, oh, put that game out on the market. It's not finished yet. Oh, nope, no time to add the finishing touches. Get it out now. You see what I'm... But I want to give a shout out to Phil of Arcade Regiment, because he feels the same way about indie titles. And he actually mentioned this in his Switch video, so I'll put the link to his channel in the description to go check out. He makes a lot of great content. Now, some games that I would personally like to see on the Switch. I know a lot of people have speculated. There's a lot of rumors going around that there's going to be a Metroid title, which I could see that happening because, well, since there wasn't one on the Wii U, but if you look at it this way, there was... The N64 never had a Metroid title either. And then the GameCube had the Metroid Prime series, which people loved, so that's why I think maybe it'll be the same way with the Switch. I'd love to see a new Star Fox game, or, even if it's a sequel to Star Fox Zero, since I think that was kind of like... I enjoyed Star Fox Zero. The thing is, I like repetitiveness in games occasionally. Like, a Star Fox Zero, I don't have everything unlocked. I mean, there's still medals I have to get and stuff, but even if I did, I would still play that game again and again. I mean, same with Star Fox 64. I've beaten that game so many times that I know it by heart. I know all the paths, all the levels, where to dodge, and things like that, yet the game still never gets old for me. But yeah, I'd love to see a Star Fox 64. I mean, a Star Fox Zero continuation. And whether it's a multiplayer mode or a totally different Star Fox game, I'd love to see a Star Fox game with a multiplayer, something like Star Wars Battlefront, or Star Wars Battlefront 2, the, like, more classic one for, like, PS2 and Xbox. I really want to see a game that utilizes amiibos, something like Skylanders, or a cross between Skylanders and the Subspace Emissary. Like, that would be awesome. Like, although I'm not really... I played the first two Skylanders games, and I kind of lost interest, but if they did, like, something with, like, Nintendo characters, with the amiibos, that would be amazing. Something they really need to do. Because it would give... Because amiibos don't really necessarily have their own game, just, like, little... Really, it's just, like, bonus content, or maybe, like, a little weird type of game or something. They don't have, like, an official amiibos game. That's something they should really do. And... finally, I would love to see a Nintendo versus Sega fighting game. Something like Marvel vs. Capcom. Whereas, like, basically you take a roster from Smash Brothers, for example. Like, you have Mario, Samus, Link, Kirby, Pikachu, Donkey Kong, Bowser, Zelda, Captain Falcon, and Ness, etc. Then you'd have, on Sega side, you'd have Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Robotnik, Vector Man, characters from Shining Force, characters from Golden Axe, the list goes on. But that would be awesome if they saw a game like that. And Sega's, I know they're talking about making a comeback and bringing back some old IPs, so hint hint Sega. But now for my overall thoughts. I think the Switch is gonna do well. I just don't think it'll be as successful as the PS4. I'm just making an assumption. I can't see into the future or anything, but I think it'll sell somewhere between 20 and 30 million. Maybe it'll be more, maybe it'll be less, I don't know. But that's just my assumption. But that's just my overall thoughts of the Switch and my opinion and everything, so be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and always thanks for watching. RandomArk 3087 out. Enjoy your day.